What's up, all you music fans, you music nerds, and you music enthusiasts? Is that last one even a technical term? Is that something we use to describe ourselves? We should. Because basically it's just music nerd that sounds cooler. Hashtag music enthusiast. Let's go. Come on, guys, let's do it. So, guys, Brian Westside here, back in my own room, enjoying being back on my comfortable futon so I can do a good review for y'all. And today it's the 7th studio album by Nashville rock outfit Kings of Leon. The album Walls. It's a arena rock alternative pop rock album songs, and I thought that musically that this was great. These guys were putting out some great music. They were being creative. They had sounded like they were having fun for the most part making this music, and that these they're family, and so they're very close together, and it even shows in their music, and that I can hear great musicianship going on. They all build off one another, and they made for a really good album that could have some arena rock staples, maybe songs that we could be hearing on the radio for a while. I'm not exactly sure how this one will age, but it really was a good album. It was a hurry. Vocally, I do love Caleb Follow Will's voice. Although his voice does make it sometimes a little bit hard to hear some of the lyrics outside courses. This album was really like a chorus-based album, and that they really went for some catchy hook choruses, very short, catchy choruses, and in going through the verses, it was sometimes hard to hear the lyrics because of his voice. And because of the production on this album, there was some very weird. It could have just been my headphones or the mix that was standard for the Spotify app. It was just really quiet. Just listening to the album, like it was just quiet, like it was way back in the headphones a little bit, and especially in the drums, just felt like they were pushed back away from the album. From the rest of the music, and the vocals were a little bit under the guitars and bass lines, and bass guitar, which sound like they're competing against each other for who has the spotlight. And it was a very weird mix, and it made the album a little bit hard to listen to. Especially there were some great guitar parts throughout this entire record that you wanted to hear a little bit more of, but there was so much bass guitar going into it. It seemed like it was slightly overpowering, and just all the way in the back, and the way it was put on, mixed onto the record. It was very, very weird. And again, this could have just been some technical problems with the Spotify app, with the way maybe the standard mixes, and even my headphones. But it's weird. I shouldn't hear that anyway, and I don't usually hear that. So, on any album where something's not mixed right like that, it was very weird. Waste a Moment, I think, was the lead single from this album, and it starts it off with a quick and for a pop rock song, punchy riff. It's sort of quick, very rocky, and very very good considering. It also had among this riff, it had some interesting a drum fill. Within the verse, as you're listening to the music, you just hear over the straight beat something a little bit more complex, and I'm not even sure if the drummer, I don't know which one's the drummer, is playing. He just goes like in the middle of it as playing the straight beat, and I almost feel like that the straight beat was still going, and it was just a very awkward place to hear, and it was very quick. It was very interesting to hear. And it was very hard to hear again because of this mix, and I thought that was interesting, and that these guys can be a little bit more creative. Maybe they're actually better at the instruments than maybe I could give them some credit for because I'm thinking they're just an alternative band. They had, it was something good. It was this weird drum fill. The guy may have not even played that while playing the straight beat. I think I saw somewhere where there was more like a percussion on it. Other people doing percussion, but that was okay because it made for a nice little layer on top of the music. It was totally fine. And then we get the Reverend. It slows down the album a little bit. It was a very more slow song. Totally cool with that though. I'm not. It was a good way, and has some good airy space arena rock type ballad going on, and it had a very musically had a chorus that was something similar to the something off Smoke and Mirrors, the Imagine Dragons album, which was, but it wasn't a complete copyright. It was just musically the sound of it had that, and which brought in some interesting things. But we get into Find Me. It has a great parts and opening parts from both the bass and the guitar. And then we get into this 6-minute song, Over, which had this really strong, simple bass line that just starts off the song and brings it in powerfully. But it also had this oddly electronic sound to it, and I know this is an electric bass, but the way like the sound came out of it had some like distortion to it or something. It sounded really weird, and it also overpowered every element in the song. And the bass line does not change through all 6 minutes. Most of the parts don't change through all 6 minutes, but yet somehow through the non-changing musical parts, this song gets to that 6-minute point almost effortlessly, and that when by the time it's done and you look at the time and it's like 6 minutes has gone by and you wondering how that went by, because it goes by very quick and very effortlessly, and which is an amazing thing to me. But again, the bass line just seemed a little bit overpowering, a little oddly distorted or something. It was weird. And then the vocals sounded a little bit deeper into his range, although not much deeper. In the way his tone was coming out did not sound so interested in the song. It was awkward. And then even later he goes up a little bit higher, and it just sounded really weird. His little, like, almost like he was reaching the high point, and this is not a very large range, by the way. So it was had some good parts to it, and the fact that it hit 6 minutes effortlessly, but that song just had its weird things to it. But overall, a good song. We get into Muchacho, which is another slower song, but it is not very good at all. And this is one lyrically was kind of weird to me. I didn't exactly understand where they were coming from in some of the lyrics, and then there was like this Hispanic type like percussion taps going on over this airy space, pop rock that Kings of Leon is going with. In that those two sounds just kind of weren't coming together over this song. It was weird. And then it goes into what I think's the worst song on this album, the space, this conversation piece, which is just a space pop, basic, boring, that just is like a filler track for this 10-song album. And then again, this is something that's more focused, like most of these songs that have gone through, it's like more chorus based, where the vocals actually come out louder, and then we hear the chorus, and it was it was just weird. And then we get to Eyes on You, which was a little bit more of a arena rock standard type of song, and I thought that was a good part. But the bad production mix was just also taken away from this album. And then it had this bad chorus and hook that this actually just sounds like a bridge or a pre-chorus into a chorus. Is the lines, if you don't like it, then try it. If you don't like it, then try it. There's the chorus, and then the hook is like, I believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. That's the chorus and hook, and that just sounds like in the way that it was performed and given out to us, almost sounded like a build up to a chorus, and then it kind of just dies off into another verse. Very, very weird, but this song did have more of a guitar solo, which it was just a basic, simple guitar solo, but different from the album. Now, the album up to this point had its instrumental breaks. Even Waste a Moment had its own instrumental break. I'm not sure if it was necessarily any guitar solos up to this point, but it was very interesting to hear an actual guitar solo, even though it was basic. So that's okay. And Wild, another bad chorus to me. Was also more rocky. This could be another arena rock standard type song. That I really feel like that if when the band goes on tour, those two songs should be played out in arenas because they would just really do well. And then the final song, Walls, is a nice slow song to end the album. It just goes this signature sound that has been brought through this entire album, ends this song completely. Ends this album completely in this one song, and it's also slow, nice ballad, very beautiful piece, but it also has the worst chorus on the album, where it's literally just when the walls come down, when the walls come down, when the walls come down, when the walls come down. Now, of course, the Kings of Leon frontman, I believe that's Caleb Followill, has some more emotion to it. I'm just saying what I know that the chorus is. It's the whole chorus, and this album was just covered with choruses like that, where it's like one or two different lines. It was very, very weird, and then the production was just so bad. Oh, alright. In summary, this was a good album, had a couple bad songs on it. Those were Muchacho and Conversation Piece. Very weird. A lot of simple and catchy choruses. I did not really like that. The mix of the album was very quiet and sounds like some of the parts are battling to be heard. And so as they went for like a mix to where everybody's heard equally, I know what they tried to do. It just didn't work. I appreciate them for trying to have everybody singled out while being together and to make this sound grander. I like the fact that that's what they were trying to do, and I would like them to do that. That's what all makes some of the classics great, that the musicians, all their pieces are singled out and sound great, but also they come together so well that the sound is grander and the essence of the song is amazing. And that's what Kings of Leon was trying to do, and that these guys are great musicians. They're very cohesive group. They do build off each other. Just the mix did not portray that enough, in the fact that how quiet it was just very weird. But overall, this is a good album. This is now my might come back to listen to. It will definitely, as you're just when you need something to go by very fast, I think that it is good. And that if we just look past the terrible mix and we just look at the actual compositions of the album, it is good and it's very listenable. I can't compare it to anything previous Kings of Leon. If you are a Kings of Leon fan, you've listened to some of the old stuff, tell me how you feel about this album. How does it compare to any of the other ones? Do you think it's better? Do you think it's worse? Like this video, guys, if you liked it. Again, comment, subscribe to see more videos as they come out, and thank you for watching.